Good afternoon, everybody. And thank you to Mayor Peduto and Andre and everybody at the Heinz Endowments for inviting me to speak to you today. So what are we here for, and why is a banker standing in front of you talking about urban sustainability? I guarantee you everybody in the room knows more about urban sustainability than I'm ever going to know. And by the way, haven't we already figured this out? Right, I just read an article that said that Pittsburgh is the best downtown in America by Livability magazine. Right, we have the most affordable housing in the country. We have our population in downtown Pittsburgh has grown fourfold in the last 10 years. There's 4,500 people living downtown, just a dramatic change. You think about the cultural attractions we have in town, the sports teams, the new restaurants, the hotels. You know, downtown Pittsburgh is alive. Haven't we figured this out? Well, let's think about that. Let's step back a little bit and think through it. And let me start with a simple thought. I'm actually not from Pittsburgh. I moved here when I was 12 or 13 years old, and family moved here from Chicago. I wasn't terribly happy about that. I like Chicago, but Dad got new work in Pittsburgh, so we get in the car and we go to Pittsburgh. And I'll never forget, by the way, the drive, it's a 500-mile drive on the turnpike, and I remember in the back of the Ford LTD wagon, where when you're kids, you sit backwards in the back row with no seat belts and the windows down, and you're sucking fumes the whole way, which, by the way, makes the drive, at least back then, through Gary, Indiana, really interesting. And you get to Pittsburgh, and you see kind of the smoky skyline and the steel mills. I remember through high school, the smell of the meatpacking plants on the north side. It still sticks with me. I remember going off to college, and the steel industry was kind of in a spiral. By the time I got out of college, I think we'd closed the last mill in town. Unemployment in Pittsburgh was pushing 19–20% at the time. And I did what a lot of people my generation did then. I left. I went to grad school. I went to New York. I worked in finance. I had a great time in New York, a great career. I met my wife there, started a family. And around about early 2000s, we kind of decided, you know what, we don't really want to raise our kids in New York City. And some of that had to do with 9/11. That was fresh in our minds, and it's scary. But a lot of it had to do with the thought of a 90-minute commute each way every day for the rest of my life. I wouldn't get to see my kids grow up. I couldn't see them play baseball after school. I wouldn't get home for dinner. I wanted a life. So long story short, 2002, an opportunity came with PNC, and we jumped on it. And we were looking forward to a change, and boy, did we get a change. And some of you have probably heard me tell this story, but I will never forget the first day I left work in PNC headquarters. My family was still back in New York. It was 7:30 or 8 at night, and I walked down onto the street, and I thought, I got to go get a burger and a beer and watch a baseball game somewhere. And I walked down onto 5th and Wood, and I literally turn all 4 directions, and there's not a person to be seen. Nothing is open. It's dark. It's dreary. It was scary. It was empty. And, the truth is, during the 15-year period prior, we'd lost a lot of companies in downtown Pittsburgh, right? There weren't many restaurants. Retail had largely failed because we didn't have a resident population to use it, and the place was not terribly inviting. And I didn't know it then, but in 2002, Pittsburgh was right on the cusp of what we're now calling our third renaissance. And I didn't know it then, but PNC was already playing an important part in this urban renewal. In fact, we had already built our first green building by the time I arrived, First Science Center over on the Mon, which at the time was the largest LEED 2.0 certified building in the world. And I think we were the first financial services firm to have a LEED certified building. By the way, we were knocked off the list as the largest building that same year by the Pittsburgh Convention Center. And by the way, the LEED design for the Pittsburgh Convention Center was funded by the Heinz Endowments. Thank you. But we kept at it. In 2004, we bought the Pittsburgh Public Safety Building, and we knocked that down, and we recycled 98% of the deconstructed materials, and we built First Side Park. And then we built Triangle Park on the corner of 5th and Liberty, and we liked that so much we built 3 PNC Plaza right next to it, which today you know is the home of the Fairmont Hotel and the headquarters of Reed Smith, and obviously offices for PNC. And 3 PNC Plaza is still one of the largest LEED buildings in the country. And we kept going. All the branches we renovated in town, or built in town. We bought the old Mellon Bank headquarters, renovated that to LEED design, and it's now a customer care center for us on 5th and Smithfield. To the Lantern building, which we rebuilt and just recently gave to the Cultural Trust. And then finally, this fall, we're going to open the tower at PNC Plaza, and when it opens, I am told that it will be the greenest office building in the world. Now, I will admit up front that I have no idea who actually keeps score on that, but I am guaranteed that somewhere on that list we'll be very high, if not at the top. And it's actually fascinating. I've learned a lot about this recently, is exactly what we're doing in this building. But we have for example, a dual skin vented window technology where the outer layer effectively opens and it will help with heating and cooling the building for 6 or 7 months out of the year. We have geothermal wells that help heat the building, massively drop our carbon footprint. We have solar chimneys that effectively will help cool the building in the summer by drawing the warm air out of the building. We collect rainwater, reuse water, dramatically drop the water usage that comes out of the building. And we look back and we've come a long way in green building. Jim Rohr, who is hiding back there, and as Grant said, my predecessor, tells a story that when he was first approached about building First Side by Gary Selson, our facilities manager, who has frankly pushed this green initiative with us. But Jim was first approached, and Gary said, "Jim, I want our new operations and tech center to be a green building." And Jim said, "We're not going to build a green building. Those are Mellon Bank's colors." And I think it's a true story because he tells it, and he wouldn't tell if it wasn't true. And we've gone from there to a place where green is now part of our culture. It's something that our employees are incredibly proud of. Every branch we build around the country is built to Green Building Council standards. We have a net zero energy branch outside of Miami that basically has zero carbon footprint. And I'm told that we have more green buildings now than any company in the whole world, which we're quite proud of. You go back to the start, and I'd like to tell you that the reason we do this is because it's good for the environment. And that's an added bonus, but it wasn't the primary driver as to why we go green. We go green because it's good for our employees, it's good for our customers, and it's good for our communities. We thrive as an institution when the communities where we live and work thrive, symbiotic relationship. And our employees are much more productive inside of a light and airy and open space. They love it, they're proud of it. We save money through time on energy, but it's about the employees, it's about the communities. And by the way, during this period of time when PNC was building all this stuff, I think Mary, you said there's $6 billion of capital expenditure inside of Pittsburgh over the last 10 years. And you see it in the skyline. Think about all the new housing that's downtown, the new hotels, the office buildings, money spent on infrastructure, a tremendous amount of progress. Pittsburgh, you think about it, it's alive at night now. Go back to when I walked out of the office building when I first came here and it was dead. I walk out now and there's kids out jogging, there's stuff going on all over the place. It's terrific. But the truth is we can do more, and we need to do more. We have issues. For example, workforce development, something I'm engaged in. Today, both because of the age demographic drain we had when people like me left 20 years ago, but also because we're not training people today with the skill sets we need for the jobs of tomorrow. We need to do better at that. We have infrastructure challenges, both in funding and build. We have transportation challenges. We have connectivity issues with our airport to other regional hubs and international. And we have safety and congestion issues right inside the city today, things we can get after. And I'm actually really excited to be involved in a new project that you heard the mayor and the Pittsburgh Downtown Partnership announce a couple of weeks ago called Envision Downtown, which in its most simple form, is about making Pittsburgh a safer, easier place to get around. Whether you're on a bus, you're in a car, you're out for a jog, you're riding a bike, you're walking, make Pittsburgh safer, easier, friendlier. You know, you may not know it, but actually 54%, I just learned this, 54% of the people who work downtown take mass transit in every day. It's an incredible percentage, right? We should be proud of that. I mean, I'm told it dwarfs every other major city in the country. But we don't make it easy for people who do that. Right? Think what you see when you walk the streets. You see individuals are standing in the rain, they're standing in snow, there's no shelters over them, they're crowding the whole sidewalk so that if pedestrians who's trying to get to work or to lunch wants to get wherever they're going, they're walking into a crowd of people who are waiting to get on their bus, so they can't get through there. So what do? They walk out onto the street, and then they block the bus, which causes traffic, causes accidents, and is dangerous. Really simple things we can do to make stuff better in downtown Pittsburgh. We don't make it easy for disabled people. Right? I talked about the challenge we have in working demographics and needing to get qualified people to jobs. We don't make it easy for disabled people to be productive workers in our community, and we can do that. Simple things. Shave the curb so a wheelchair can go up the curb. Right? Real easy fixes. We don't have to boil the ocean. Envision Downtown is about making Pittsburgh a friendlier, easier, nicer place, whether you're a resident, you're a commuter, or you're a visitor. And we're going to start with studying. You always start with data. So we're starting with studying traffic patterns, accident history. I didn't realize this either, but it turns out every time you build a new building in Pittsburgh, we actually have to measure traffic around the building. So our new building, the tower at PNC Plaza, has lots and lots of data of how traffic moves downtown. We're going to use that data. We're going to deploy technologies that will reduce congestion, make things safer, potentially reroute traffic in streets. We're working with CMU and the University of Pittsburgh to make downtown Pittsburgh kind of a learning lab for smart city technology. One of the things that I'm really excited about that CMU's developed, I think in conjunction with the Hillman Foundation, is new traffic signal technology, right? So the old traffic lights, you know, they count down from 30 and then they turn irrespective of whether anybody's crowded at one corner or the other. The new signals learn. They measure traffic density, they adjust, and they do it in a smart network so streets work together. You reroute traffic when there's congestion. Lots of great things we can do in Envision Downtown to make downtown Pittsburgh a better place. You know, at the end of the day, I am a banker who doesn't know a whole lot about urban sustainability, but I'm responsible for 9,000 employees who work downtown, an increasing number of them who live downtown. PNC is a customer service organization. We survive and thrive when we field the very best, most diverse and talented and engaged team of employees that we can in front of our customers. That's how we win. And we win when our communities win, right? How can I attract and retain good people if the environment that I'm asking them to work in is not appealing to them? Envision Downtown is ambitious, but it is achievable, and we can do it. And I'm smart enough to know that success in this endeavor helps ensure PNC's success in the future, and that's why I'm committed to it. And I thank all of you for spending the time today, and I thank the Heinz Endowments for continuing to focus on making Pittsburgh an ever better place to live, work, visit, and enjoy. Thank you for your time this afternoon.